Hello lovely people of the world, President here to you, and welcome to my brand new Let's Play of New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. This is my personal favorite 2D Mario platformer of all time, very close to Super Mario World. This is a really fun game, but a lot of people overlook it because it is the fourth game in the New Super Mario Bros. Series, which has been heavily criticized for being a little stale over time, but personally speaking, I love New Super Mario Bros. U. This was a launch title for the Nintendo Wii U, and in 2018, it was given an enhanced port for the Nintendo Switch, and that's the version we'll be playing today. Without no further ado, let's get this over with. Alright, can we talk about that opening cutscene real quick? Because, oh my goodness, Mario is indestructible! He got punched by a giant fish that was like 50 times bigger than he was. He was thrown a bazillion miles away from the castle. He landed into a tree, landed on his face, and he's still alive! Mario's indestructible! But without further ado, welcome to Acorn Plains, and welcome to New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Before we get too far into the game, I need to never mind. I was going to say I need to change my controls, but they're already changed on a failed recording, so I don't need to do that. Yay! Alright then, so New Super Mario Bros. U is one of my personal favorite 2D Mario games of all time. It's very closely tied with Super Mario World on the SNES. However, this game kind of has a bit of a bad rap for being the fourth game in the New Super Mario Bros. Series, which has been heavily criticized for being a bit stale over time, and I personally do agree with that. If you try marathoning all those games, then yeah, it definitely does feel like more of the same each time. But I personally think New Super Mario Bros. U has a lot of the best ideas that were ever established into a 2D Mario game, and that's what I want to demonstrate in this video. I want to show you why I love this game so much. So for those of you who have never played this game before, New Super Mario Bros. U was a launch title for the Nintendo Wii U, hence the reason why U is in the title. But it's recently gotten a Nintendo Switch port in 2018, and it's a pretty fun game. This game comes with both the main story as well as a New Super Luigi U, which was kind of like a big DLC second story campaign long before Octo Expansion became a thing. So how we're going to be doing that is that we're going to be focusing on New Super Mario Bros. U for right now, and Luigi U will be treated as a second season Let's Play, similar to how we did Captain Toad Treasure Tracker Nintendo Switch, or the Tomb Raider Trilogy games. So as for how the Let's Play itself is going to work, this will indeed be a 100% guide throughout the entire game. We'll be collecting every single secret exit, as well as every single star coin. So there are 3 star coins in every level. We will be collecting every single one of them. But as for the secret exits, that's going to be working a little bit differently compared to how I usually handle that kind of stuff in these games. So normally how I handle a secret exit is if there's a secret exit on a level, we usually take care of that first. But we're going to change that up a little bit this time around by going for the main exit first and then the secret exit later.
Yeah. Let's go.
Next up, Tilted Tunnel. Alright then, now we're being introduced to the Fire Flower, and I just realized I totally forgot to describe the power-ups in the previous level, but we'll talk about that when we see it again. So, the Fire Flower is basically Mario's most iconic power-up ever. It lets you throw fireballs everywhere, and it's super cool and awesome. So, one thing that's kind of interesting about New Super Mario Bros. U is that this is one of the very few games that were released on Nintendo Switch that's legally been available in China. So, the interesting thing about China is that they're a little strict about what kind of games are allowed over there, at least to be released legally. New Super Mario Bros. U is one of the very few ones because it's a very family-friendly game and there's nothing too risky or anything like that in this game. I believe this, at least the time that I'm recording this video, this game, Super Mario Odyssey and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe were all available in China, but I don't live in China, so I don't know why I'm talking about that so much in this video. But anyway, this is an underground level, and that means that the background is going to be different, and it looks really cool, and you're going to hear me discuss about this game's backgrounds a lot, because I love this game's backgrounds, and I'm being really redundant with my commentary, yay! And I almost ran out of breath during that sentence. So this right here teaches you how if there's a block of air between these platforms right here, you are able to walk across it if you're running and things like that. So you definitely want to keep that in mind. So, like I said a moment ago, normally in these Let's Plays, I used to go for secret exits first, but that's going to be different this time around. So I do believe there is a secret exit somewhere around here. It's definitely not in this area, but it is coming up pretty soon. One thing that's kind of nice about this game is that this game's enemies do respawn fairly often. So if you mess up something like that, then you can just leave the screen for a little bit, they'll respawn pretty much immediately, and then you'll be able to continue onwards. So I'll go down the pipe, and blast off into the coins. Coin galore, yay! And go down here, and collect another coin. I thought that was going to be a fire for a second. We can go across here and collect the shiny 8 red coins. So collect all the 8 red coins and it'll give you a power-up. So, let's go down here, because this thing's kind of hinting that there might be something right here. That right there can be a little bit hard to trigger. Basically what you want to do is you want to ground pound right where the sign is pointing at to move the crystals around. It definitely took me a little while to figure out on my first playthrough, so that's something that's kind of worth mentioning. So, now that we've gotten the 3 star coins in this level, I'm going to backtrack for a little bit because I want to demonstrate something really cool. So, one thing that's definitely worth mentioning is that I don't know every single path in this game, and I'm not going to make it a priority to demonstrate them all, but if there's something cool like this, then yeah, I definitely will demonstrate it. If you had a Koopa shell with you, you probably could get a lot of coins from these blocks and things like that. But again, it's not a big priority for me to show them all off right now, so that's not what we're doing here.
Oh yeah, Mario time!
One thing that's definitely worth mentioning is that you don't want to be holding on to a Koopa shell like this for a long time, because eventually it will come back to life while you're holding on to it, and it's not very nice. So we go over this way, and okay, there we go. So this is what I was talking about a moment ago, when I was talking about how the Koopa shell can be thrown, and you can get a lot of fancy stuff like that, but there's another reason why I want to come back over to this area, because there is a secret exit in this area that's a little tricky to figure out. So basically what you want to do is that you want to go on the ceiling, and at the point where the crystal kind of pokes out of the ground, jump again, and then you'll come across another ceiling. This took me a really long time to figure out on my first playthrough. I think I gave up on trying to find where this one was partway through going through the first world, and it wasn't until I was like halfway through the game before I came back here to try and find it. But anyway, we go across here, and oh, it's a secret exit!
Woohoo! This way!
Alright then, so we're going to be going over this way next. Into the secret level, Blooper's Secret Lair. Alright then, so let's go inside. And one thing that I would definitely mention right now is that how we're going to be dividing up the worlds in this Let's Play is that we're going to be treating that very similarly to how I handled New Super Mario Bros. On the DS all that time ago. So, if you never watched that Let's Play, and I highly recommend you don't, because oh my goodness, the quality in that series was terrible. So, how we did it in that Let's Play was that we basically did half a world per video. We went up to the castle, and then we called it a video. So, that's going to be very similar to how we'll be doing things here, but I will say, if the video is going on for a little while, then we will call it quits and finish the rest of the world later. There is going to be at least one world where I definitely know we're going to need to split it off for a little bit. But hopefully that won't happen for too often. That's proper grammar if I do say so myself. I don't know why some of these coins need bubbles but other ones don't. It is kind of a cute little touch, I will say that. So, one thing that I definitely will say is that you can very easily tell, you can definitely tell that this was one of Nintendo's first major HD games. Because, like I said, this was a launch title for the Wii U, which was the first ever HD console Nintendo ever did. And while Nintendo Land definitely had this game beat in terms of visual style, this game definitely was a bit of a step up in terms of visuals for the 2D Mario games. It wasn't a big step up, but it was still a step up. And I'm being very redundant again, I should probably stop doing that. And bloopers are blocking my path of glory. Get away from me. There we go. And one thing that I gotta say is gonna be my first major critique with this game is that I really do not like this game's swing controls. It's really weird, and I don't really care that much for it. There is an option to play as somebody who has much better swimming controls a little bit later. I don't know why I say a little bit later, but you can technically play as them right now, but we're not gonna be talking about that quite yet. I will talk about how we'll be handling different playable characters a little bit later in the series. Would you stop attacking me, you stupid bloopers? Alright, let's go inside this pipe. And collect our final star medal. And nice corner, nice corner, good. I would get that super mushroom normally, but that super mushroom, by the time we get to it, the bloopers will be blocking the exit, and it's not very good. I may have made a critical error in my decisions. I immediately regret everything. There we go. And they appear, and others isn't. Okie dokie. I see how it is, game. You crush my dreams. Coast clear! Exclamation point! Not yet. So, one thing I will say is that takes off a lot of the story right there. Like, look how close that is to Peach's castle. Like, if we go right there, we're pretty much already halfway done. It's already it's only the first episode. But we're not going to be going in that direction quite yet, because this is 100% Let's Play after all, which means let's go into the Super House real quick.
Pick a block, and I'll give you whatever items inside. I'm gonna shuffle them now, so watch closely. You don't want to pick a Bowser.
So my personal favorite strategy for this is to only focus on the Bowser one, because the other ones are guaranteed safe. So let's pick one. We can hit 2 blocks. Okie dokie. So avoid the middle one, and we get a star and a super mushroom. That may seem cool to get a star, but it sucks in this game. I'm sorry, but the star is absolutely useless to have in your inventory. And I'm going to demonstrate that right now. So, we can go in here, and usually the star power-up in Mario games lets you become invincible for a brief moment of time. And that sounds really cool and all. But here's the thing. Star power runs out really quickly in the new Super Mario Bros. Games. It's barely even worth it to even have this thing in your inventory. So, yeah, I don't care that much for this thing. Like, we barely made any progress in this level before it disappeared completely, and it's like, ugh, why even have that in the inventory? Alright then, so let's get to the next coins and go this way. So one thing that's very well worth mentioning about New Super Mario Bros. U in particular is that this game and New Super Mario Bros. Wii are both 4-player games. So if you live in a family that likes driving each other crazy with 2D Mario gameplay and things like that, then you can play this game. It is pretty fun and is very beginner friendly, although one thing I definitely will say is that you can bump into each other, which can cause some pretty chaotic moments. So if you like that kind of thing, then yeah, I can definitely recommend playing this game with your family and stuff like that. But I will say, if you're going for multiplayer and you want more the merrier, then the Wii U version is the superior version when it comes to that, because the Wii U version has 5-player gameplay. The Nintendo Switch version unfortunately does not. So what happened on the Wii U was that whoever was playing with the gamepad could place some blocks on screen to help out the other players, or kind of mess up their jumps or things like that. It was very chaotic and very fun. Unfortunately, the Nintendo Switch version dropped that feature, so it's no longer a thing. I might demonstrate that later in the Let's Play if I could find the right people to record that with me, but I highly doubt that's ever going to happen. So I'm going to go across this area. Continue on over here. Careful not to jump in a point where you could get crushed by the block and machine cog and things like that. Also, we have an ice flower ability. So that's pretty fun. Basically what this does is that you can pick up blocks of enemies that you froze, and basically it allows you to turn them into platforms. You can pick them up and then throw them, and then shatter and be completely destroyed in cold blood. One thing I definitely will say is that, how in the world did it take that long for an ice flower to appear in a Mario game? Like, it seems like one of the biggest no-brainers ever when it comes to death. Alright, so this is the path that you want to take if you want to get the 3rd star coin. I do apologize if I'm getting the name wrong on that thing, because it kind of seems like Nintendo changes their mind every other game on what those things are actually called. Because remember they were called Star Coins in the New Super Mario Bros. Games, but then their name was changed to Star Metal in Super Mario 3D Land, even though they were the exact same thing. I don't know, it seems like Nintendo always changes their mind on what those things are supposed to be called. So we go across this area, and usually there's always going to be a fire flower hidden next to the boss door, so you definitely want to keep that in mind. Fire flowers are definitely the weapon of choice when it comes to the boss fights in this game, because we'll be facing Boom Boom, and we can fire some fireballs at him, but like, look at this guy. Look at this guy. He's a joke. Look at him. Aw, you think you can defeat me? Well, you're sorely mistaken, good sir. We barely defeated him in like 5 seconds. This guy makes the boss of the 4th dungeon and Link's Awakening look like a joke. And now that we've taken care of all that, we're in this video off here. So thank you all so much for watching this episode of New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. And the next episode, we'll be taking care of Yoshi Hill. Ooh, I wonder which beloved character we're going to meet in that episode. And until next time, I need to give it to you. Oh yeah.